shocking. Absolutely disgusting. That is one of the worst performances I have ever seen in my life. Hi everyone, welcome to the Tune Review. My name's Paul. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, do consider hitting the subscription button and the notification bell. Let you know of any uploads that I do bring out. This is a football community channel. Newcastle United playlist separate to the Premier League and other world news. So even if you're not a Newcastle United fan, do subscribe. Trying to build a nice big football community on this channel. Thanks very much. Right, I've had a bit of time to calm down overnight about that performance last night at Southampton. However, not enough. I still sort of went on Twitter this morning thinking, wow, I'm still raging about last night. I mean, you know, you look at the team lineup and you think, right, he's going 5 at the back again. He's playing the same team. But I tell you why he does this. Because the man is a dinosaur. He does not study the opposition he's playing next. That's the difference. You know, quality, world-class managers will sit down the week before and look at who they're playing next. And they will study how they play and put out a team that can play against that lineup. Steve Bruce, no, he wins a game and he thinks, right, I'm just going to put the same 11 out. No tactics, nothing, no coherence, no teamwork. We'll just go out there and we'll just try and win. But the bottom line is, he doesn't even do that, try to win. It was clear from the kickoff last night that Steve Bruce had set that team out just to get a point. Let's just sit back again, take it up the backside and just try and catch them, which we were never going to do. We were never going to catch Southampton on the break. You know, 7 minutes in, Southampton go in front. Almiron hangs onto the ball for no apparent reason. Could have laid it back to Lewis and cleared the ball. Danger gone. However, Walcott gets the ball, nips in, blasts across, and Shea Adams just hits his foot. He just has to direct it in because the power's on the shot. I've seen a few people think that Darlow should have saved that. But if you're standing in that goal, Walcott's ball is hit with a lot of pace. It's come off Shea Adams, directing it in. By the time Darlow blinks, it's past him. So I don't blame him for that at all. What I do blame is Almiron for hanging onto the ball. But again, what are we doing in training? Because I can't see anything. You know, does he actually play his starting 11 in training games and little scrimmages and see, right, this is where we need to improve. This is what we've got to do against Southampton. No, there's nothing. And I'm sick to death of watching this utter garbage now. We are a laughingstock on television. Every time we go out on that pitch, every single team knows how to play against us because we just sit back and try and catch teams on the break. But the bottom line is we don't have the players at the moment that can even do that. Saint-Maximin is way off form at the minute. Now, yes, he's out of position. He should be on the left. There's no doubt about that. But I'm hearing that he's actually asked to play through the middle. But if you're a world-class player, then you can play on the left or through the middle. Now, I don't know what's happened to ASM in the last 3 or 4 games, but he's been non-existent. He's been looked to if he's made of glass. He just goes down and he stays down every time he gets tackled. And I know he's got loads of men on him and things like that. But God, what's gone wrong there? Almiron looks wasted on the left-hand side. I mean, you know, we came good for 45 minutes against Everton last week. 45 minutes. That's all we've seen this season. I mean, Steve Bruce, he's had his 9 lives now, surely. This is disgusting football. It's disgraceful to watch. And how he can justify his mindset going into games, I just do not know. Every time the man speaks now, I want to punch him in the face. It's horrible. And, you know, you're watching other teams, smaller teams than Newcastle United, playing some lovely stuff. And even when they go against the big teams, they still have a go. Like Sheffield United, when they went to Liverpool, when they played at home to Man City, they lost those games, but not by much. But by God, they put some effort in and they gave it a go. But Steve Bruce wants to sit back every single game, no matter who we're playing. It's diabolical. And we had one attempt on goal in that first half, which was Sean Longstaff's pitiful header. He should have done better. No, nobody's saying anything about that, because it was the only chance on goal. But he should have done better with that header. And what did he say at half-time? He comes on the interview after the game and he says, right, this, we wanted to give it a go. We wanted to try. Then do it. Do it. Just go at them. I'd far rather Newcastle lose with dignity, with a bit of pride, with a bit of passion, than going out there and playing utter shite for 90 minutes. We did nothing in that game. Absolutely nothing. Their second goal, Sean Longstaff, again, dwindling on the ball. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he lost it. Armstrong takes it off him. But what really annoyed me with that goal, and it wasn't even mentioned. If you look at Sean Longstaff when he loses the ball, he just kneels down and watches. I mean, yes, there was probably nothing he could have done, but he doesn't even make an attempt to stand up and get back in the play. He just kneels down and watches until the ball's in the back of the net. What is this saying to the younger players, who are sitting there just wondering what the hell is going on? Because for us fans, sitting there watching this drivel for 90 plus minutes, I've had enough. I've simply had enough. And don't get me wrong, Southampton deserved to win last night. They were outstanding. The way they pressed the ball, they just looked a team. Even without Danny Ings and Ryan Bertrand, the players that stepped in did the job. And we know whenever Theo Walcott plays against us, he turns into Lionel Messi, or we let him look like that. But credit to the lad, he was all over the pitch last night. And he was really making Southampton tick, along with Ward-Prowse, who just sits in that middle of the park, just dictating play. We didn't, he's just sitting there thinking, God, I could have a cup of tea here. Just knocking balls left, right, centre, forward, and away they go. No pressure from us. Just there you go, Southampton. Have the ball. Shocking. And I'm sick to death now of having to do these videos where there's nothing positive. I mean, yes, last week against Everton I was positive because we got 3 points, and it was nice to see for once, after 45 minutes, us having a go. But Steve Bruce does not think, oh, well, let's go and do that again, because we can hurt teams with the players we've got. Oh, no. He's more bothered about the opposition than he is his own team. And that's the bottom line. He always does this. It's the opposition. He never concentrates on what we should be doing. He just tells the lads to go out, stay behind the ball, defend as much as you can. And if we get something out of the game, then so be it. That's basically must be what he's telling the players, because they're going on the pitch doing exactly that. They're going on the pitch and they're thinking, right, we're going to sit back, we're going to soak it up, we're going to try and get something out of the game. My God. I mean, I just don't have anything else. And now we know that Ryan Fraser's got a hamstring injury. Callum Wilson's now got a hamstring injury. What is going on with these injuries? I mean, you've got to look at the coaching staff here. And what are we doing in training? Or what are we not doing in training that is making players pick these injuries up? The whole group around Steve Bruce is wrong and needs to go. Steve Bruce needs to go. There's no doubt about it. My mind is made up. I mean, it was probably made up a long time ago, to be fair. But we as Newcastle fans are sick of watching this dross week in, week out. You sit down to do a match review. What's the point? There's nothing to review. apart from getting taken up the arse again. You try and look and you think, right, before I do this video, let's pick out bits of the game and review them. You can't. Because you can't sit there and say, right, Newcastle kept 10 men behind the ball for 90 minutes. Southampton scored 2 goals because of some stupid mistakes. And we got taken to the cleaners again. That was the most convincing 2-0 win you will ever see in football. And, you know, we've got Chelsea next after the international break. And they are just going to absolutely walk the planet with us. Because you can guarantee that Steve Bruce's excuse is, well, you know, the international break's been on and we haven't had enough time to train, etc., etc. It's the same for every single team, Steve. But he will go 5 at the back again, you are guaranteed, because he'd be shitting himself that we're playing Chelsea. It's Chelsea next. Oh my God, he won't even look at previous games that Chelsea have played this season. He won't look for any weaknesses. All he'll look for is how he can defend for 90 minutes again. And try and get something out the game. And you guarantee that his press conference will be, well, Chelsea are flying, brought in some big players, spent millions. You know, they'll do this, they'll do that. And we can just hope to get something out of the game. We'll try. It's the same every press conference and it's pathetic. And I've had enough. I have had enough. And I'm not the only one. Looking at some of the fan TV channels last night, other Newcastle United YouTubers, they've all had enough. All the fans on Twitter, just sick. We're just watching absolute shite week in, week out. And I'm sitting watching the TV and I'm actually bored of it now. Because you just know what he's doing. You just know how he sets his team up. You just know everything that's going to happen in the game from the kickoff. From that word go, you just know how Newcastle United are going to perform. Or what they're going to do. There's no tactics there. There's no coherence on that pitch. There's no leader. There's no leader on that pitch that gets them by the scruff of the neck and says, right, lads, let's pick this up here. Let's do something. And we miss someone like that. Lascelles, I'm sorry, is not that type of... Yes, he'll shout at his players, but my God, he doesn't get them by the scruff of the neck and say, right, that was terrible. Come on. We in Newcastle United, we're better than this. He doesn't do anything like that. God, I mean, what it must be like to be a Southampton fan at the moment with a manager who's got clear direction, who struggled early on. You know, yeah, the 9-0 defeat against Leicester, etc. He struggled. But he was given time, and look how he's turned that round. Look at the football they're playing. And every single manager now must rub their hands together when they know they're playing Newcastle. Because they know what they're going to get. They know exactly what they're going to do to break us down. It's not rocket science. But for Steve Bruce it is. He's too stupid to actually sit down and think, right, this is what I'm going to do this week. We need to do this, this and this to beat this team. But again, it's not. It's how he defends. His mindset is, how do we defend and not concede against this team? Not how we beat them. So anyway, the player ratings for last night, God help us. Darlow, for me, a 7. Again, he made some brilliant saves in the match. It could have been a lot more. Darlow was there when he needed to be. I don't blame him at all for that first goal. Some people do, some people don't. But I thought he was brilliant again last night. So a 7 for Darlow. Jacob Murphy, a 4. He didn't get himself into the game. One of his poorer games I've seen him this season. But again, you know, we have a mindset from a manager who's pushing us back. What are these guys supposed to do? So we'll go across the defence. Fernandez, I thought, yeah, he did okay. He wasn't outstanding last night. A 5. Lascelles, a 5. Shah, a 4. He needs to improve on his passing because when he clears the ball or he attempts to make a pass, he's going for a Hollywood pass all the time. You can't do that. Unfortunately, you can't. Jamal Lewis, a 4. Moving into the midfield. Hendrick, 2. He was absolutely shocking. I don't see what we get from Jeff Hendrick. I'm sorry, some people will back him up, some people won't. But my opinion is the man he's just shite, right? He's just shite. End of story. How he gets in that team ahead of Isaac Hayden, I'll never know. Yes, Hayden has his down points, or downfalls, sorry. But my God, he's a much better organiser than bloody Jeff Hendrick, who couldn't even pass to a Newcastle player last night. And gets knocked off the ball as if he's just kind of some spinning top. And next to him was Sean Longstaff, who again, you know, I don't see why he is on set pieces. He's abysmal at them. But for the fact that he gave away that stupid goal, and I don't know what he was doing, he gets a 3 from me. Almiron, you know, again, good engine, but he really was poor yesterday. 4 for him. ASM, a 3. He just wasn't in the game. And then when he tried to get into the game, he's down on the floor again. And I don't know what's going on with him. Wilson, a 5. You know, I'll have to go middle of the road for Wilson because the poor guy who is just lumbered up front and he's got nothing. He's got no help. And he must be thinking to himself, you know, if we actually attacked, I could get a hatful of goals for this club. And that's the real upsetting thing about all this, is if, you know, we went for it, we've got a striker who can get bags of goals. But if we're not providing for him, what the hell's he supposed to do? He can't do anything. So the subs came on. I thought Matty Longstaff came on, running around. He didn't do much, so a 4 for him. Joe Linton and Carroll came on. Joe Linton put that brilliant header in, and that was probably the best moment of the match for Newcastle yesterday. Lovely ball in from Jamal Lewis, and it was a cracking save from McCarthy in the Southampton goal. So I'm giving Joe Linton a 5. Andy Carroll, a 5 as well. He didn't really do anything, you know, sort of middle of the road again. But our manager, Mr. Bruce, I'm giving a 0. And, you know, people might look at that and think, well, you can't give a 0. I can. Because let's look at this in detail. I give a 0 for a simple reason that he didn't do his homework on Southampton. He just put the same team out that beat Everton because he thinks, right, because they got 3 points, then they'll go and do the same again. Not realising that Southampton are a different animal. They've got different tactics. They play a different formation to Everton. But no, Steve Bruce doesn't look at that. And he goes out with the mindset of, we'll get what we can. We'll try and nick something. This is the same every single game. We'll try and nick something. And that's the annoying thing here, because that is the mindset of our manager from the word go. We will try and nick something. And it's just diabolical. It's awful. And I'll state it now. This is the worst manager we have ever had. You know, and we've had some crap. You know, in my time of supporting Newcastle from the early 80s, we've had some absolute showers of shite as managers. But this guy makes Steve McLaren look like a demigod. I mean, you know, McLaren, you know, for all his downfalls, he studied the opposition. And yes, it didn't work most of the time, but he did study the opposition, you could tell, because he changed it week in, week out, as managers do in the Premier League. But this dinosaur doesn't do that. So for me, in my time since 1981 of going to Newcastle, this guy is the worst. Because he does no prep work. You look at the stats. Look at the stats. They're absolutely abysmal. His personal stats in the Premier League are the lowest of anybody. And our team stats at the moment for like shots faced and possession and things like that are just rotten to the core. Absolutely rotten to the core. So there you have it. That's my opinion on last night. It's not much of a review, because how can you? There's no end-to-end football. There's no chances to talk about. There's no attempts on target to talk about. There's no players that stood out to talk about. So what are you supposed to do in a review when you're watching a shower of shite like that? You can't. We are playing some of the worst football that has ever been seen in the Premier League. And again, that's saying something, because there's been some awful teams in the Premier League. Awful. Yet that football we're playing at the minute is just some of the worst I have ever seen. If you can even call it football. Because for me, we just go out and we put 10 men behind it, but we may as well be on a Serpetio pitch. It's just rotten, man. This man has got to go, or the takeover's got to happen. Something has got to happen at this club to give us a bit of belief, a bit of life. So anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. I know it's been a bit of a rant, but what are you supposed to do? I can't sit here and not wear my heart on my sleeve. I can't, talk about positivity when there isn't any. So, it's been a bit of a rant again. But I have to tell the truth. I have to talk the truth. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit anyone and say, oh, yeah, well, this could happen or this could happen. I can't do that sitting here right now after last night. I just can't. But if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for dropping by. Like I say, I'm trying to build a football community on here. So even if you're not a Newcastle fan, do drop a subscription. The playlists are separate, Newcastle United playlist. And then we've got the Premier League playlist and world football news, etc. So do hit the subscription button, do hit the like button and the bell so you'll know when I upload any more videos. But in the meantime, try and enjoy the weekend, Newcastle fans, as best you can after watching that. I'll be back probably on Monday with a Premier League review. See if any of my predictions were right or wrong. But in the meantime, like I say, try and enjoy the weekend the best you can. Stay safe. Take care.
Be strong. Be strong.